Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Learn English with Podcast. I am Mark, and I am so happy to be here with you today.
And I am Sarah. Hi, Mark. Hi to all our listeners around the world. We are very excited about today's topic because it is something we all love to do: eating.
That is right, Sarah. But specifically, we are talking about how to order food at a restaurant. It sounds simple, but when you are learning a new language, it can feel like a big challenge.
Exactly. In fact, think of ordering at a restaurant like a map to a hidden treasure. The restaurant is a new land. The menu is your treasure map. The waiter is your guide. And the delicious meal is the gold you want to find. If you follow the map correctly, you get the treasure. If you get lost, you might end up with something you didn't want.
That is a perfect metaphor, Sarah. We want to help you read that map perfectly. But before we dive into the delicious details, we have a small favor to ask.
Yes. If you enjoy our podcast and find it helpful for your English journey, please take a second to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this episode with a friend. It really helps us grow and create more content for you.
Thank you so much. Now, let's get personal. Sarah, ordering at a restaurant wasn't always easy for me, even though I speak English. I remember a time when I was traveling in a very fancy restaurant, and I was so nervous.
Oh no, Mark, what happened? Even you get nervous?
Oh, absolutely. This was years ago. I wanted to impress my friends. I looked at the menu and saw something called steak tartare. I thought, oh, steak. I love steak. I didn't know that tartare meant the meat was completely raw.
Oh, I can see where this is going.
When the waiter came, I didn't ask any questions because I wanted to look like I knew everything. I said, I'll have the steak tartare, please. When the plate arrived, I looked at it and my heart sank. It was a ball of raw red meat with a raw egg on top. I was shocked. I couldn't eat it, but I was too embarrassed to say anything. I sat there for 30 minutes, pretending to enjoy tiny bites of raw meat. It was a disaster.
That sounds terrible. But you know, Mark, that is a great lesson. Sometimes we are too afraid to ask, "What is this?" because we don't want to look stupid in another language. But it is always better to ask.
I learned my lesson that day. Now I ask about every single ingredient. What about you, Sarah? Do you have a restaurant fail story?
Oh, I have a big one. It happened when I was visiting Italy, actually. I was trying to practice my Italian, but the same thing happens to English learners. I went into a small cafe and I wanted to order pepperoni on my pizza. In my head, I thought pepperoni was the spicy meat, the salami.
And was it?
No. In Italian, pepperoni means bell peppers. So, I was waiting for this delicious spicy meat pizza, and the waiter brought out a pizza covered in green and red peppers. I was so disappointed. I don't even like peppers that much. I realized that words can be false friends. I should have checked the description or asked the waiter to describe the dish. I felt so silly sitting there picking peppers off my pizza for 20 minutes.
We have both been there, Sarah. It shows that even if you are an expert, communication can be tricky. But that is why we are here today, to give our listeners the tools to avoid our mistakes.
Exactly. Let's talk about our first tip for a successful restaurant experience. I like to call this one the polite magic.
The polite magic. I love that. What does it mean?
Well, Mark, many learners just say the name of the food. They say, "I want water," or "give me burger." In English, this can sound a bit rude, even if you don't mean to be. The magic is using the phrase, "I would like," or "could I have."
You are so right. I would like is like a secret key that opens doors. If I say, I would like the grilled chicken, please, the waiter immediately feels more relaxed and helpful.
Exactly. And "could I have" is great for asking for things during the meal. Like, "Could I have some more napkins?" Or "Could I have the salt, please?" It makes the whole interaction much smoother. Don't you think, Mark?
Absolutely. It is all about the tone. I'll have is also very common and perfectly fine. I'll have the fish. It's short for I will have. It's friendly but also very clear.
That leads us to our second tip, which is very important for people with allergies or specific tastes. I call this the question power.
Like I should have used with my raw steak.
Exactly. The question power is about using simple questions to understand the menu. Many students are afraid to ask questions because they think their English is not good enough. But you only need a few simple structures. For example, what is in this dish? Or, is this spicy?
Those are great. Another one I use a lot is, does this come with? For example, does the steak come with fries or salad? It's a very simple way to know what will be on your plate.
And what if you want to change something? Like, can I have the salad instead of the fries?
Oh, that is a classic. Instead of is a very useful phrase. It allows you to customize your meal. You are the boss of your dinner. Don't be afraid to use your question power to make sure you get what you actually want to eat.
Now, let's talk about the next step. Once you have ordered your main food, there is often another choice to make. I call this tip the sidekick choice.
The sidekick choice? Like Batman and Robin?
Exactly. The sidekick is the side dish. Often, the waiter will ask you, would you like any sides with that? And learners sometimes get confused. A side is just a small portion of food that goes with your main meal.
Ah, like mashed potatoes, steamed vegetables, or a small salad.
Yes. And sometimes the menu says sides are extra, which means you have to pay more for them. So when the waiter asks, you can say, I'll have a side of fries, please, or no sides for me, thank you.
That is very helpful, Sarah. I often see people get stuck when the waiter asks, anything else? After they order the main dish. The sidekick choice is the perfect time to add those little extras.
And finally, we have the end of the meal. This is often the most stressful part for English learners because it involves money. I call this tip the sweet ending.
Hopefully it is sweet because of dessert and not bitter because of the bill.
Haha, hopefully. The sweet ending is about how to finish your meal gracefully. First, the waiter might ask, did you leave room for dessert? Or, would you like to see the dessert menu? If you are full, you can just say, no thank you, just the check, please.
Wait, the check or the bill? I always hear both.
That's a great question, Mark. In the United States, we usually say, the check. In the UK and many other places, they say, the bill. Both are perfectly fine, and every waiter will understand both.
Good to know. And what about paying? Sometimes we want to pay separately if we are with friends.
That is very common. You can ask, can we split the bill? Or can we pay separately? This is very important if you don't want to calculate everything at the table.
Great advice. So, the polite magic, the question power, the sidekick choice, and the sweet ending. Those are 4 very strong tips.
I think our listeners are ready for their next restaurant visit. But Mark, before we finish, we should probably review some of the specific words we used today. Let's go on a little word tour.
I love the word tour. It's like a quick walk through the vocabulary forest.
Okay, let's start with a word we used at the beginning. Starter or appetizer. Mark, do you want to explain this one?
Sure. A starter or appetizer is the small dish you eat before the main meal. Like a soup or a small salad, it starts the meal. In America, we say appetizer. In the UK, they usually say starter. For example, for my starter, I would like the garlic bread.
Perfect. And then we have the main course. This is the big part of the meal. The steak, the pasta, the big salad. It is the star of the show. You could say, for my main course, I'll have the grilled salmon.
And then we have a very important word for when you order meat, doneness.
Oh, that is a technical one.
It is. When you order a steak, the waiter will ask, how would you like that cooked? You need to know terms like rare, very red inside, medium, a little pink, or well done, no pink at all, fully cooked.
That is so important. If you don't know those words, you might get a steak that is too raw or too dry for your taste.
Exactly. And another term we mentioned was the check, or the bill. As we said, this is the piece of paper that tells you how much you need to pay. A common phrase is, could we have the check, please?
And don't forget tip or gratuity. In many English-speaking countries like the US, it is normal to leave some extra money for the waiter if the service was good. Usually, it is about 15% to 20% of the total.
That's a very important cultural point, Sarah. Always check if the service charge is already included in the bill. If it is, you don't always need to leave an extra tip.
This word tour has been very productive. I feel like I have learned a lot just talking to you today, Mark.
Me too, Sarah. Let's do a quick recap for our listeners. Remember, use I would like to be polite. Don't be afraid to ask, what is in this? Remember your sides and know how to ask for the bill at the end.
And now it is time for our final challenge. This is a tiny goal for you to do today or the next time you eat out.
Even if you are not in an English-speaking country, you can practice. Your challenge is this. Go to a cafe or a restaurant, and in your head, or out loud if you are brave, order your meal using the phrase I would like and one sidekick choice. For example, I would like a coffee with a side of cookies, please.
I love that. It is a small step, but it builds big confidence. Just saying the words quietly to yourself while you look at a menu is great practice.
Well, that is all the time we have for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Learn English with Podcast.
We really do. Before you go, we have a question for you to answer in the comments. What is your favorite thing to order at a restaurant? And have you ever had a funny mistake like Mark or me? We want to hear your stories.
Yes, please share them with us. We love reading your comments. Thank you for listening, keep practicing, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That is how we learn.
Goodbye, everyone. Happy eating and happy learning.
Bye-bye. See you in the next episode.